Don Cohen and Tara Gooch on our Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, LinkedIn Live. We're so happy you could make it. And we're really starting to focus on topics that we're starting to experience every week while we're involved with LinkedIn. So what we're sharing with you is fresh off the press and it's working. So today's topic was it's easier to give birth on LinkedIn than try to bring back the dead. Now that sounds kind of curious. What does it mean? And that's what our discussion today will be about is too many people keep going back to the well when nothing's coming out while there's whatever activity in front of them. And to what extent you accept somebody as an active person, I look at pretty much who viewed my profile first, because that shows who was interested in me and learning more about me than my content, which could have just been a passerby. So with that said, the introduction, I want to introduce Tara. And anybody that knows Tara knows she's very dynamic and a not future, but a rising star on LinkedIn and is getting better every week. So Tara, what's your thoughts towards our subject?
Absolutely. So you're right. Sometimes it's, going back to, let's say it's a prospective client, that you talked to a year ago, and there was no interest back then. There could potentially be interest, but it's dead, right? It's,
Mm-hmm.
if you haven't heard from them and if they haven't been engaging with you and vice versa for a long period of time, we know how short human attention span is.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably on to the next thing, right? So it doesn't take long before our attention span as humans just quickly dissipates and goes on to the next. So a really good time to capture the attention of somebody is right, after you meet them, you see that they've maybe viewed your profile, you've engaged with them in some capacity. Maybe they tuned into a LinkedIn live show that you did like this
Mm-hmm.
one. And that's when I like to engage with people, especially. So, if I see that, oh, we've got some comments, right? You know, I like that comment. I appreciate somebody that's commented on a show. And then if it's somebody that I haven't been connected with, right? Let's say it's a second degree connection, maybe I'll reach out to them and say, "Hey, so thank you so much for coming to the show. Would you like to connect, etc." And then
Mm-hmm.
that could lead to a conversation starter. What about the show was interesting to you? Did you have any
Mm-hmm.
value adds, any points, any takeaways from the show that actually helped you and added value to you? And it's fresh off the press, it's fresh out of the pan, and it's fresh in that person's mind. And you never know where that conversation could lead to. It could lead to your next business opportunity or a strategic partnership potentially, right? We have to
Mm-hmm.
remember too that not everybody on LinkedIn is a potential customer. They could be a strategic aligned partner.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I don't think a lot of people are utilizing that. So something to keep in mind there, but keep it fresh off the press because human attention span is very short, my friends, right?
So profound. I hope everybody was taking notes and can leverage that, and apply it to good value. And here's the key. Oh, and by the way, we're open to chat. Abdullah Khan just was able to say hello. Thank you
Yeah.
for joining, and we welcome other chat interest. So, uh, to the subject that we were just talking about, one of the keys is time efficiency, and not only your time but their time. Right? If nothing happens for you with them, nothing happened with them with you on that second call. So, did you really further your interest? And did you satisfy their interest initially so they know who you are and what you do and they know how to get hold of you? And that's all you can do is plant the seed. Now, if you look at who, like Abdullah or anybody else who's reached out, there's somebody who's actually made an effort. And it's almost like that's why when people look at your profile, it's like someone left a business card. right? Someone says, I was here and here's who I am. And hopefully they leave even a little more information with a comment. Well, that may be the one person. And if you just look for one person a day, and that's a lot if you can get it every day, especially someone who can be a strategic partner or a client, or somebody you may be a client to. So it works both ways, is really being able to say thank you for leaving your card and acknowledge it. And it's up to you to decide what you want to do beyond that. So if there's somebody you really say, wow, this is a really cool person who might be of great mutual benefit to each other, then I want to come back and say, thank you so much for reviewing my profile. If you have blah, 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 let's have a Zoom or let's have a LinkedIn Live. Some people just want to start at the top.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks because they're at the first step that they have to go second, third, fourth. Some people already been at the fourth and don't want to be there. So why not get to the point? And sincerity, authenticity is so important. Test it early before you get too deep into conversations with people who are somewhat opaque. So with that said, what other insights have you gained this week, Tara, that fascinate you?
Gosh, you never know where a relationship can take you. I say that every time. I feel like every time we talk down, I say
Mm-hmm.
that exact thing. But every week I'm more and more surprised and impressed at just how valuable this platform is. So, just yesterday, I had a LinkedIn Live with an author, and he's out of the United Kingdom. And he writes books about CEOs, right? So, CEO in Control is one of his books, and How to Become an Effective CEO is another one of his books.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have the same target audience, right? Same target customer. So, why not work together? It makes sense, right? There's no overlap, yet there's only complement. So,
Mm-hmm.
we found each other and we appreciate each other's work. And, we did that LinkedIn Live show together. We had 98 attendees. I think 85% were CEOs. So,
Wow.
yeah, it was a really rich network of wonderful, influential decision makers and leaders, right? Well, after the show, he invited me to his private Facebook group that is all CEOs, 350 some CEOs from
Mm-hmm.
around the world. And we're going to do a Zoom together, and he's going to put that Zoom on his private Facebook group. This is a completely organic reach for me, getting to a different audience that I would have no capacity to reach without his help, right? So again, amazing opportunity. But in order to get something like that, you have to do what? Add value, right? So that's, something that I teach as well, is how to add value and how you can bridge those gaps.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you never know where one connection could lead you. And, the saying is you're one connection away from a different life. You could be one post away from a different life, one comment, one outreach. You know, again, if we start thinking and viewing LinkedIn as the door to our very next best opportunity every single day, you're going to have success. But sometimes it requires, the help of somebody else who's already bridged a lot of those,
Mm-hmm.
communications to kind of guide you through that process. But LinkedIn, it is endless opportunities. And if you're not having success on this platform, get with somebody that is a couple steps ahead of you so that they can help guide you through that process. It's not intuitive. It's something
Mm-hmm.
that you have to it takes time to learn and really master. It's an art form, Don. And I know you know that better
Mm-hmm.
than anyone. But this is an art form. And right now we have a strategic alliance and partnership. And I do appreciate you. And we've given each other so many opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Just this week, or what was it, last week, last Saturday, I
Mm-hmm.
featured you as somebody that you've got to connect with on LinkedIn, somebody that is an influencer that is absolutely a prize to have in their network. Well, then you reciprocated and introduced me to somebody that I wouldn't have a capacity to reach before, and now I'm on his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about, folks. It's about forming those relationships, that reciprocity, that value add, and genuinely giving back to others in your community. It's so crucial.
Yeah, I would tell everybody to listen to that part about 2 or 3 times again.
Yes.
And what it really speaks to is what the topic of the day is by doing it that way, you keep things fresh, you keep things sustainable, because
Yes.
to do transactions, you'll never get ahead of them. But if you do something that you can do and keeps working every time you do it, now you're not from scarcity. And more importantly, you now have options, you have choices, you have individuals. It's like putting together an orchestra is who do I play best with? And to Tara's point, you want to run with the fastest. You want to run with a group that makes you have to run faster just to be accepted in the group, and everybody ratchets up together. And everybody has so much opportunity that it's silly not to share it, right? Especially when you know what you're sharing is going to be super appreciated once it's recognized. And what you've done is you've not only helped yourself, but helped yourself by helping somebody with somebody you know that can help that person. And in turn, you become a connector,
Yep.
right? You become a go-to person when people say, I know you're running with some great people. I've got a huge opportunity. Do you know somebody that could help me? Right? And then you help that person, whether there's a sense of guilt or a sense of gratitude or both, they're going to have to help you, especially if they were as good a people as you felt they were when you recommended them. Right?
Yes.
There shouldn't be any surprises, because you know what it is. You always want to bring the biggest gift to the party. Not so much you'll get the recognition just because of the awareness of your giving.
Yeah.
And that's the key is, but the next key, and that's why Tara's so right. You're better off just laying it on the table, getting it right, because I think everybody's capable, but people have things in the wrong order, the wrong priority. They don't
Mm.
have a plan. The timing's off. I mean, you name it, you can fall into a pothole on LinkedIn. So getting to the point on what you can do with all this is reinvent yourself every day. Put together the best you from the day before. Look at little things that you do right and see what they do. But ultimately, you get out of the mystery of things and you get into the doing. And then what's even more fun is when you win. You know what a dry spell is, and all of a sudden you find an oasis and it seems like it's never ending. Well, that's what you can have by just applying yourself with someone else. And if you don't want a mentor, if you don't want a teacher, find somebody that you really respect and work with on LinkedIn and start putting your heads together and start doing LinkedIn lives and challenge each other to be better. Because actually what me and Tara are doing is we're co-coaching each other in front of everybody, because Tara's coming up with great ideas, and not only ideas, but experiences that are real and came from real effort. And to her point, it is an art. But with any art, you can be creative. And that's what makes it fun. So if you're having fun, if you're creative, you wait a little bit longer without worrying about, is this worth it? Can I do it? And all those other concerns. And that's the other part about getting support. By yourself, it's lonely, it's challenging. All you need is someone to say, I've been where you are. Here's what I did. Here's what happened. It can happen for you. And then it goes forward. So, Tara, what other thoughts might you have that before we close out?
I love that. Well, you hit on one word, Don, that has been on my mind a lot lately: scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
Let's think about scarcity. So, if you have a scarcity mindset, a limited mindset, of course, you're not going to have success in general, right? You attract the energy that you put off. We know this, but the same goes for LinkedIn. If you're coming at someone with scarcity and with lack, that's what you're going to get back and receive back into your life, right? So it's all about giving and the value add that you can provide to others. So every single day on LinkedIn, I get scarcity type of messages. It's not attractive. It doesn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me almost feel guilty just reading it. It doesn't make the other person feel good and feel abundant. You want to make sure that you're coming through with every connection with abundance in mind, with gratitude. People can feel that energy. Really, they can. So make sure that when you're connecting with others, it's not, I just see this just all too often, Don. It's me, myself, and I. How
Mm-hmm.
can everybody else help me, myself, and I? And then they wonder why they're not getting success back. They wonder why people aren't connecting with them. They wonder why people aren't helping them, aren't reaching out to them, aren't wanting to work with them and collaborate with them and do business with them.
Mm-hmm.
This me, myself, and I attitude has no place on this.
Mm-hmm.
People can feel it, they can smell it, and it gives people like anxiety almost. Come at every single interaction you have with anybody just like you would in real life. Same thing with LinkedIn, with an abundant mentality and a growth approach, right? It's all about the mind.
Mm-hmm.
You can't succeed in life or on LinkedIn or otherwise without an abundant mindset. It doesn't happen. The two are conflicting. So if you want abundance on LinkedIn and if you want to have success on this platform, you can't have scarcity. You can't,
Mm-hmm.
like oil and water. You have
Mm-hmm.
to have abundance. And one way to show your abundance is not by asking, it's by giving.
Mm-hmm.
Give and reciprocate. Give so much and add so much value that you inherently seem so abundant. And people are attracted to that energy because everyone wants abundance and success, don't they? That's kind of the goal of life.
Mm-hmm.
So people are attracted to others that are inherently abundant and successful. It's a magnetism. If you
Mm-hmm.
want success, be a magnet for it by displaying abundance. It makes sense when you say it, but it's so few and far between applied, I think.
Well, that's where practice makes perfect. Want to uh, recognize Laura Grace for commenting. Thank you so much, Laura, for watching what we're doing today. Very much appreciated. And I think to Tara's point, what you're looking to do is again bring the best you can, and at
Mhm.
the same time, really figure out that it has to be heartfelt, right? People can enter people's brains, but if it's not felt in your heart and it's not given that way, and people have a lot, don't worry about a little. And your biggest wealth is your attitude. It's your confidence. It's not your bank balance. It's not what you used to do. And when you can get out there, and that's the key, because what Tara's talking about really relates to everything: time efficiency, relevancy, duplicatability, is get out of the mob. You know what I find? When you're on LinkedIn Live, you're kind of like at the top level where it's kind of a library almost, and it's quiet and professional. And when you're in the commenting and posting crowd, it's like trying to talk a business situation at a football game. There's just too much noise, too much distraction, too many people going after the same thing and in the wrong way. You almost have to declare yourself a person of integrity and say, let's meet outside of this game. Let's do something live in front of people, right? If you met somebody for the first time, wouldn't you rather be in a public place, right? A safe place, as opposed to, and then it keeps, I think, everybody straight, right? Where everybody says, well, I'm appearing on a LinkedIn Live And the key is you want to keep everything LinkedIn centric, right? It's nice to be friendly, but that's not going to get you or them to their goal. And at the end of the day, it's like, show me what you got, right? And if you put it on the table and they put it on a table and say, hey, what do we got if we put some of this together? And that's where your first step is, hey, I could use a little of that, right? If you were baking next to each other and someone had an ingredient and wanted to share, right? And that's how you ratchet up together. And also someone will say, hey, I was just watching you put that together. Here's something I can share with you, right? If someone can help you prevent a mistake, look at how much time you saved, how much projection you didn't share, and really being as precise and to the point. And people just want to know, tell me what it is, right? They don't want to know the whole ball of wax. So, anyways, with all this said, I hope it's a theme that repeats in everybody's mind, is that this could be the first day of the rest of your life, and your dreams can come true. But it takes change, it takes trust, it takes all these qualities that are necessary in anything you do to be successful in anything in life. It's not unique to LinkedIn, but it's required even more because there's so much facade, there's so much opaqueness, and you want to distinguish yourself with the clearest, cleanest picture you can present and really niche it to the point where now you're saying, I'm looking for this, right? And you know, if that shows up, you can give something in return that more than matches it. And that's where you distinguish yourself and differentiates yourself from the talkers versus the showers. And I hope, like I say, this motivates people. I hope it also gives you an opportunity to get to know me and Tara better. And we're looking for more opportunities to work with more people on bigger and better projects to make it easier for them and to give us more exposure and experience. And you know what I believe? Mix it up, see what happens. You can always go back to yesterday's formulation, but you'll surprise yourself, because I hardly ever do. Every time I put my toe in the water, it seems like it takes my foot with it instead of backing up. So with that said, share this if you care to. I think I'm going to be watching it again, and hopefully you can take this to the bank, and that would be great. And we'd love to hear all about it. Tara?
Yes. So, abundance mindset, guys. Try something different. Get out of your shell. You know, you might not believe this, Don, but until this year, 2022, I had never done a video and posted it on social media. Oh my gosh, that's a revelation, isn't it? So if I can do it, anybody can do it. And now I do LinkedIn Lives, I do podcasts, I do native videos that I upload on my phone all the time. So you can go in just a short amount of weeks or months from 0 to 100, but you have to take that action first. And if I wasn't working with you and you weren't pushing me, I don't know if I would be on LinkedIn Live to the extent that I am. So, it's about collaborating and finding other people that, support your goals and want you to exceed and really succeed in whatever it is you're trying to do. But find those strategic partners, find people that you can collaborate with that push you, get you out of your comfort zone. And it really is possible. Again, it was literally March of this year when I decided to do entrepreneurship full time, and I exploded my marketing efforts and activity. So there's no reason anybody can't do this, but sometimes it just takes, a coach or somebody to help you to get you to that next level. But you really don't want to just, without any experience whatsoever, just to start blasting out stuff. You want to make sure that there's a strategy to
Mhm.
it, because what goes on social media stays there forever. So you want to make sure that there's a strategy, that there's intention, very important word, intention, and that you are speaking to your target audience and that it adds value, right? And your reputation is here for the world to see. So make sure that when you are putting out content, that it's meaningful, that it's abundant, that it adds value, and it helps gain you exposure to your target audience and other future business partnerships and collaborators. It's really important because, of course, you can post, lots of different types of content, but I don't think anything works without a strategy long term, right? So
Hmm.
you have to have a content strategy. People tell me all the time that, oh, it's not about a strategy. I don't need a strategy. Well, how is that going 3 months down the road, 6 months
Hmm.
down the road, a year down the road? If you don't have a strategy lined up, how successful would a football game be? How successful would
Hmm.
a sport be if they just put their players on the field and said, figure it out? It's not going to work.
Hmm.
You're not going to
Hmm.
win that game. There's a reason why they have coaches from all different, for all different positions. It requires a thoughtful strategy, and it requires experts to lead you to that path of success that you want to go, so that you're not floundering in a couple months or a year from now. The point of
Hmm.
it, you don't want to waste your time. You want to maximize it and be intentful with your content.
Yeah, no, that's so important. And I think to Tara's point, you not only want to find people, but the easiest way to find people is to deal with people who want to be found,
Yes.
right? I mean, we're sitting here saying we see how big LinkedIn is. And to Tara's point, and I tell that to everybody, if I can do it, anybody can do it, right? I'm nothing special except have kind of learned to engineer the attributes and disciplines and
Yep.
attitude of success. Those are the things that keep you going when you just know it's just ahead of the curve, right? If you just believe it's the checks in the mail and it's going to happen, but you can't sit back and wait. That's the thing. You have to have the confidence it's going to be, but you got to do everything you can to make it be, right? Because you have to account. And I've talked to so many people that have spouses or partners who every day say, how much have you made today on it? You know, and unless you're working really hard, you can't really say, well, I'm doing good. The only acceptable thing is, wow, you're really putting a lot of effort and you're making changes, you're doing things, and I think to Tara's point, the reason why people don't have a strategy is they don't care and have as much interest to making it a strategy, because one thing a strategy forces you to do is write things down. Second thing, have something to measure against.
Yep.
So if you say in 10 days this is going to happen and you decide to fill in the blanks, in 10 days, at least be honest with yourself and say, did it happen? How could it have happened if it didn't? And now, forgetting about blame or bullying, what am I going to do the next 10 days from this? And if it keeps making you account to yourself, and that's who you have to account to first. And once you're cool with yourself, it gets easier with other people. But there's another point that really says, what's your determination? What's this worth? Whenever I got into a tough situation, it was always, well, first of all, do you want to do this? Second of all, what are you willing to do this? And it was usually whatever it took. And then how long, whatever it takes. And then I never changed my mind, you know? And eventually you wear things out, you attract people, and some people just love fighters, right? They love people who just keep getting up after getting knocked down. And there's people that will come out of nowhere, and it's happened so many times, and be a guardian angel,
Yep.
right? They appreciate what you're doing. They appreciate you. And that's the goodwill that you're providing on LinkedIn. You're building bank accounts all over the place. And hopefully you'll never need them, right? You want to accumulate and get more wealth. You don't want to just build it, take it, and start over again. And the best person, a person who just keeps giving, and somehow they just keep getting, even if that wasn't their intention. right? So if you're pure, if you're honest, if you're fair, those are scarce commodities. And if you're generous on top of it, you're going to have to rate somewhere at the top of the list. And if not, you'll know who got above you. And maybe it's time to learn from them and associate with them. So anyways, we can go forever, and we should, but we can't. So we're going to have to sign off. If you want to know more, go to our profiles, reach out to us. We're very accessible and responsive. And until next Friday, have a wonderful week ahead. Be safe. Tara?
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We appreciate it.
That's tight.